So to do test-driven development, we're going to be working in a directory in Rails that we haven't used up until now, which is the test directory right here. So you'll notice that there are a lot of different directories here, but the one we're interested in is the model, which is related to our model files. And so inside each one of these is a kind of a starter. And these were all generated when we did the scaffolding. So here's what a test looks like. We'll uncomment this one. This is referred to as a domain-specific language. It's Ruby, but Ruby has been used to create these kind of non-Ruby looking methods that are specific for testing. So the way this works is you've got a test, is the first word here, then we have a description, the word do, and then we have some code in here followed by some tests. Assert itself is actually a test. And what this means is when you tell it assert something over here, it means I want to say that this thing, whatever is over here, code or whatever, is true. And there are a number of different types of assertions. So probably the easiest way to explain this is to run it. And so if we run the test, so this says I ran the test, it finished one test, one assertion, that's the assertion here, no failures and no errors. Let's cause this to fail. So if I'm going to say false here, so again the word assert is saying I want to test whether or not this thing over here turns out to be true. And so if I run it again now, I'm going to get this assertion failure here. Mini-test assertion, expected false to be truthy is the way that they put it. Okay? And of course this would happen also if I said, well, assert that 3 is equal to 2. It would do the same thing. Expected false to be truthy. Okay? Now there's a bunch of different ones that we can use here. One of them is we could assert equal. And here, the first value is what is expected. So let's say that we expected 2, but we got 3. All right. Now if we run it, it's going to tell us a little more detail. We expected to get 2, but we actually got 3. And we can even put in a message here if we want. Okay. And so when we run that, we get our message here, okay? And then it still tells us the expected and actual, all right? Okay, so let's write some actual real tests. So let's say that one of the things that we need to do is have the course be able to report its total score. And so the total score should be the total from all the criteria scores that have been added to it. And the criteria scores, in turn, are held by that course criterion join model that we have between the course and a criteria. All right, so let's write this out. Let's see, we want to say test. We want to test, what are we testing? Well, let's see, a simple thing would be a course with no criteria assigned should have a score of 0. So we write this out in such a way that we'll understand what we're doing later when we go back and read it, and also we'll understand what tests were run when we see them down here. Let's see, so what should we do here? Well, we need a course, right? So we'll say course equals course dot new. Here we could say new or create. We can just do new for right now. And let's say course dot name. We'll just give it a name, even though we don't really need that for right now. So we'll just call it test course. And now what we're asking here is that the course, we want to be able to ask the course, what is its total score? And what we're saying here is that we want to assert equal that Remember, it's expected first. All right, so we're saying we want to assert that if we have nothing else but just a blank course and no criteria assigned, no scores, we're going to get a score, a total score of 0. All right, now we can run this test, and I'm going to run it by doing this. I'm going to right click over here. And of course, there's a shortcut key also. And I'm going to run that. And notice we get undefined method total score for course. Well, that's what we expected, right? Because remember in TDD, we start with writing a test before the code exists. Okay. Now we can flip over to our course class, or we can use this shortcut, which is kind of nice in IntelliJ, to say, well, go ahead and create the method for me. All right, so now we need to go to that method and do something with it. Let's make this bigger. Okay, so here's the unintuitive part again. What did we say? We just said that we expect it to be 0. And one of the rules in TDD was we return the simplest possible thing that's going to make this work. So now we're going to say 0. Now I can switch back to my test. So now we're going to run this test, and let's see what we get. It worked, right? It didn't fail. So we'll stop here, and then in the next video, we'll pick up with some more tests.